All right, good morning. It's been a while since we've been doing one of these videos. I apologize, but really not too much to report on. Although the market's melted up for most of the year over the last 12 months, and over the last couple months, we've really started to see it fade, pull back, whatever you want to say right now. Start that over. All right, good morning. Be doing a pre-market update. It's been a while since we've done one of these, but honestly, there's not really too much to report. The market was on autopilot for almost a year, just kind of grinding up after bouncing off some of our key supports we've had in there for a couple years now. We took advantage of it. We're enjoying some of those that have stayed, but unfortunately healthcare, especially the biotech and anything speculative, has been pummeled. Obviously, its interest rates are going up. It has stayed up, and it's harder to get free money these days. So, over the last 2 months, obviously the market's kind of pulled back, /faded. I'm a little bit concerned because we're starting to see a decent setup for a stronger reversal. Let's just get right into that right away. We're looking at the SPY here. So, we haven't, in general, obviously we didn't come up and hit our all-time highs, but hey, we got up there, Came right up to, what is this? This is April? March of 22. Came pretty close to that level. Now the, RSI, although a very, some people would say antiquated, but it still works and it's good reference, and a lot of things are derived, even the, modern day next gen indicators that people use are still very much derived off of RSI, especially in terms of oscillators and anything that uses momentum. And a lot of algorithms still use it. So I still use it. So therefore, if the, computers and algorithms and anything that's automated that's still using it, since they handle the majority of the volume of trading, I'm going to still put it on my charts. And it seems to work still, but we have an issue where we're getting kind of like this triple, almost quad top right here on this RSI. What's that, around 70? What was that, 75? So that's going all the way back to November 21. All right, then August of 22. Recently, what was that, June? Yeah, mid-June. And then we've got to our high here, but we're getting that bullish, or in this case, bearish divergence, where, we got to that high again, right? But that's here, and then we get our share price goes even higher, and we're seeing weakening of the RSI. And so if you could see in the go no go, which is, hey, we're dark blue, right? Solid blue. I didn't say dark blue, but solid blue here. Now we're lightening up, right? So we're starting to fade. The momentum is starting to fade. We've got some downtrend rays that have come off the top and double tapped here. Broke some uptrend rays, right? We came here, broke through, came back, hit it again, got pushed down, accelerated down. 200-day EMAs holding up some support. But in general, I'm seeing a lot more bearish. Now, the thing is if I expand this out a little bit, all these little squiggly lines here, these are anchored VWAPs, right? Anchored volume weighted average price. And what I mean by anchor is that it's originated from a low. So key lows. So back 2019 lows, 2020s, anything basically that's a pivotal low, that's where these are coming from. This is where you're really actually going to see solid bumps. Now the dotted ones are on the monthly and the solid ones are on the daily charts. So that was key for us in general for finding a long-term support to bounce off of down here, right? But then also that's when things really got bullish, right? So chopping around. But once we came here, touched on these and popped up, that's when the market went on a nice little long run, right? So our concern here is that if we don't see a bounce off these or holding above and then seeing a reversal and finds a way to start chewing through and gets below 400, there might be a serious issue. We're not there yet, obviously, and I don't expect to be there maybe until the end of the year when, November, October, November, we might have a shot if things get ugly. I mean, the angle of attack right now is pretty steep. But I suspect we'll get down here between just normal support. We have some anchored volume and then the anchored VWAPs. We should still be all right. That being said, though, if we take a look at like the Qs, a little bit better. Yeah, Qs are actually holding up pretty well. What's the diamonds look like? So she's hurting. And she bounced off the anchored VWAP from the high. Yeah. So that's the anchored VWAP from the all-time high. So she's holding up there. All right, let's take a look at healthcare in general. Looks ugly. Very bearish right now. Biotech. Looks like you shouldn't even touch it. Bounced off this. Where's that trend line coming from? Way back. Now, it's proximal anchored VWAP. It's way below that, so I'm not really looking to touch any small cap biotech. Any of the big pharmas or big bio. Nope, same thing. They're pretty ugly too. How's our lady Kathy Woods looking? All right, that's bounced off. That's interesting. Is it a good setup, though? Not sure. See, this dotted... this is the monthly RSI, right? So that's being overlaid the daily. So we're seeing some strengthening here. So a little bit of a bullish divergence, meaning we have a stronger monthly RSI. The daily is also strengthening a little bit, right? And then we also got the share price kind of double bottom / even got a little bit lower, but whipped up. So that's usually a good sign, and that's probably what fueled this sucker. Now we're rolling back over. Are we going to get another situation? The issue here, it's almost there. So this could be a good one, where you are getting now a higher low being set in on the share price, although we're down below this. But if it snaps right back in, or outside the daily Keltner channel, if we see a snap back in and overtakes this, it would be a good setup, because now you're getting a potential for the monthly RSI to continue to strengthen up, and the daily potentially. So what we would need to do is probably see maybe this come down and test it again on the outside here. Who's in control? This is, sorry that I'm going through this, but you guys can see how this is how, even though you're looking for hope, right? You're looking for optimism, but you just got to be patient and being cautiously optimistic, right? I like sometimes saying positively pessimistic, because sometimes I want to see things get worse. I'm hoping and I'm expecting worse, in hopes that things will be eventually positive for a positive reason, right? I'm hoping things get cheaper. I can buy more. I mean, I'll have less money in the market waiting for a better bottom. Because for the most part, I mean, we were active probably a year ago, all the way up until about the lows, and then over the last, like 6-7 months, we've barely done anything. And we can sit here and talk about it, but Why, it's the market's being controlled by algorithms and computers that are just taking money that's coming in that needs to be invested. It's being spread out. It's being put into the obvious names that we like to look at, like some of the dividend stocks. But all the speculative stuff, that's the real fun stuff that you want to sit and talk about. It's hands off. It's hands off. We can talk about maybe some updates in the pipeline, but there's no action we can take. It's funny. It's like a year or two ago, if a company was, came out with an approved drug or it's a phase 3 data readout, and then we could start planning. It's like, hey, they're going to submit their NDA. We're going to get, something from feedback from the FDA. We're going to get a PDUFA date. We could start planning for, how we're going to play this, the catalysts around it. And I've literally watched companies at this point release their phase 3 data that was better than anything that's ever been reported for a specific indication, submit the NDA, get feedback, get a PDUFA, and get approved, and have even looked at and said, yeah, this thing ain't going anywhere. It's going nowhere because the market's just punishing anything speculative and anything healthcare. So if you're a small cap or even growth right now, unless you're reporting absolutely solid double-digit growth for the last year and you're doing nothing but, upgrading your guidance for the year, you're getting pummeled. So if you've got companies that have legit pipelines that are reporting growth and they're even though they're reporting, we'll just say single-digit growth, decent enough, they're not floating. I mean, they're actually still reporting some growth, and they're getting pummeled for not being amazing growth. Those small cap biotechs, unless they're completely undervalued and the approval or the data was, expected to be bad or negative or get rejected, whatever you want to say, and they did get like a good positive approval. I mean, let's do this. Let's talk about Sarepta, SRPT. Now, Sarepta, people were expecting them to get rejected, but they got approval. They're reporting decent growth. They have now a gene therapy that works for a large percentage of DMD patients. And look what happened. I mean, we're getting a nice setup here eventually, but years ago, these guys would have been, we should be back to, looking at, almost $200 a share, right? We were at 181. We got a setup going here, right? Here's the anchored view off from the high. Got bashed below, popped above it, retested, went back up, and now, we're looking good here. But still, just a great example of, arguably the best gene therapy company in the world. And they just got approval on something where a lot of people are like, I don't think they're going to get it because they, these surrogate endpoints that these gene therapies have, people are like, well, how can you prove that if it really works if you're not really using a legitimate endpoint? We're speculating this will work. And they're still, I'm going on a little bit of a tangent or a little bit of a rant too, but point being is that these guys, technically you got a double top here. It's a terrible setup, for technical analysis, but fundamentally this company's much better position than they were back here, back here, back here. At this point, I don't see any immediate competition coming their way. They're getting more and more support for gene therapies to be used. All right, let's take a look at healthy dividends here, because I think these guys might have hope. NVO is going to keep growing. They got it. Who else is? NVO's probably got it the best of it, because these guys with the GLP-1 agonists, I don't think people, I mean, I think I wrote about it, but I think we're finally starting to see some of the market realize, you know, how much of our healthcare system and the really, really expensive stuff that we have to pay for across someone's lifeline that's from obesity. Like, I mean, look at this right here. Costly. Ozempic, Wegovy, all these, well, it's just, yeah, whatever, same thing. But these drugs, if they can reduce like obesity and diabetes, right? Bring these things down. Both of those things, although, you know, essentially are the same thing in terms of most, I shouldn't say the same thing, but, you know, they walk hand in hand. There you go. In terms of being such just chronic diseases that destroy people's lives, but it's how costly it is to the world's healthcare, especially in the United States, right? That people get surgeries, right? They're on these heart meds, they're on diabetes, they're all on these things are so expensive. And then just dealing with the orthopedic side of it. Like, there are the whole like healthcare system is fixated on people being obese and having terrible lifestyles and being in pain. Their liver, their lungs, their whole body, everything that's vital to them feels terrible. They're on, you know, depression drugs. All that could come crashing down for a relatively cheap prescription, right? So NVO and anybody who's going after metabolic diseases, watch out. Now, NVO's got it, but I am VKTX, that's where I'm at. This is grinding back down. Now, look, I will tell you this. We loaded up. We did a great job. This was home run for us, right? Except personally, I booked profits and I'm happy with it. But this sucker was back down, I think, at 170. Was it near once? No, it wasn't just 170. It was in the 100s, I believe, right? I know we got below that. Did we? No, 2? I swore I saw 1 at one point. Or maybe I was begging for it. But, you know, we loaded up. We went from 2, right? And we went up to 20. We've been, you know, I booked a lot of profits at sell 2. I take my money and now I'm enjoying it and I'm waiting for it to come back down. I don't have a game plan for it yet, but these guys with Nash, anything metabolic, these guys have it. Another great metabolic guy is Altimmune. Their data's decent. But I think what could happen is that if they can get something approved, and I think they're more like the value play here. ICPT just got acquired for essentially what they're doing with Nash. Is there anybody else that... Another one that's interesting, we have to keep an eye on, I like it, is ESPR. Now, they're a metabolic company, but they're still on the side of, hey, people are going to be just so beat up and destroyed and have heart and metabolic issues later on in life that we're going to be still dealing with that, which I think is still true. But that algo, look at the algo grind on this. Like, if you don't look at these charts and say, like, hey, the algorithms took over here, right? This is what they did. They switched it on, and there's just probably 5, 6, maybe 10 more of these downtrend rays coming from here. So you just sit here until you see one. You get one of these nice setups, and you wait for it to really just grind on it. And the moment you see a nice little pop in volume and it gets above it, that's when, hey, you can take a chance and maybe add to it, right? But there's even more, like this blue one. This is probably coming from the high, right? That's still out there. So you're not in any rush to load up on ESPR. Now, it's one thing to get involved here if you're looking to get in, but you're going to be waiting until it's all clear. Because you know what? The computers, they're not in a rush. They have a timeline, and you could possibly see like great phase 3 data. You're going to probably see great, potential for it to be improved. It might even be approved. But if until it breaks one of these lines and it holds and goes, like, you're not looking to go all in. Because if it's on the docket to be shorted and grinded and just completely decimated down to 30 cents a share, they're going to do it. And you're going to sit here and be like, why are they doing that? It's because they know that you got excited and you were loading up in the 8, 9, 10 area. And they're like, hey, we can get this down to 50 cents. You're going to shake out. We want this. This is when we're loading up. You were here, then you got scared, and then you got despondency and said, oh, it's never coming back. And then it just flies right back up when they said, oh, it's time to flip on the switch for buying. And then you chase. And they're sitting down here, and you're like, oh, I'm still getting it at 150. They loaded it at 1. They're already making 50% on you. And they love it. They got millions of shares out of it. And what's funny is they don't care if it goes to 0. They'll grind it to 0 because they'll find ways to make money there. It's awesome. There's the company and then there's the stock. Guess which one actually makes you the money? The stock, the ticker. I've seen companies that have great fundamentals, great long-term, and ultimately they got enough money and they survived, but they came back from absolutely nothing. For such a long time, it got absolutely destroyed. And that's why sometimes I still play these, because at some point, when you're right, that one time of being really right outweighs the sometimes 20 times of being wrong. All right, let's take a look at some more here. We got time today, so this is going to be a long video. So now that we got past MVO, GSK, great example of, oh man, it's the worst stock. They got this. Where was it? Yeah, so this is where it dropped off. What, that was a year or two ago? What was it? The Zantac, yeah. Oh no, Zantac. We just wait, we added, right? Nibble, big ad. Wait. So now you're down here, you picked up in the 20s, right? Yeah, we got in the we got way down here. And then we're in the third. This, I don't ever have to sell this. Dividends, just general growth. And everybody's going to say, well, what happens if they got sued or whatever? They get sued, they just buy out whoever's suing them. And they have to prove, it was increased risk of cancer or something like that. So every person that ever gets cancer, it could argue that Zantac gave it to them or whatever, but they got to prove it. And then there's all the outs of, hey, you've been exposed to all these other carcinogens in your life. You can't tell me that Zantac gave you the cancer. They win. They put a, $20-30 million or something like that in a side fund for anybody who wants to get $5 out of it now for a class action or something like that, and that's it. It's over. S&M, we gotta look at these guys. These are the type of companies that you gotta love because they're never in the news. They're just those big cogwheels in healthcare. Keep an eye on here. I'll do a little update on them. ABT, what's with your deal? Are you being just... I'll have to do an update here too. I have to keep an eye on ABT. That might be a good one to pick up for us. 3M, leader in PPE. Was a great COVID stock. Now she's being grinded. I mean, look at this. That's not clean at all, but you can see it. Yeah. Pfizer. Don't forget Pfizer. Let's see. I'll go there. There she is. So she's got this one. That's keeping her here. That's it right there. It pops out a little bit, but yeah. So she's still, they're gonna let it come down. That's fine. I'm gonna keep adding on Pfizer slowly. I haven't made any big purchases, but like, 10 shares here or there. Not expecting a massive turnaround anytime soon, but I don't mind collecting dividends. Oh, LH, yeah. Here's one I have an idea. Yeah, I'm good with LabCorp. Where are you coming from, though? Is that a new low that we're working off of? Yeah, I'll take that. So Baxter, that's another one we should keep an eye on. Let this, yeah, see, this is where we're going to start to see potential. So here's the low, right? Comes up. Now, we might have a higher low set on the monthly, and then potential bullish divergence here. So here's the lower RSI, but here's the lower share price with a higher RSI, right? So you just got to wait for this break. They haven't, it might be there, but that also could just be right on top of this one. You can see it snap right there, right? So there's the snap. Boom, boom, boom. Right, so Algo still really got it. I mean, obviously it's not clean, but still in control. So gotta wait. But you can see, look at that anchored volume. Just perfect, right? Computer's controlling it. This isn't people. This is a computer. They're just going through the motions because they realize if they get to certain points, you're going to have stop losses, and then they can get more selling pressure that they're short on, and they're getting those shares that just fall apart, and they're the ones that go down and buy it. It's beautiful. Establishing a base, trying to move shareholders from being up in the 50s down in the 30s. Well, they will accumulate, and they'll use those same people that are accumulating the 30s as their own line of pawns and defenders against the share price going lower. Right? It's a game. It's almost like a war game where there's front lines and there's various, that front line's moving up and down. It's always fluid, right? They're trying to manipulate it. It's just that they're jumping sides, pushing it or pulling it to get it where they want. To the point where the winners are done winning and the losers are walking away, leaving only them left. to take the next step, right? Or start the next part of their journey, which is the direction they want to go in. And they'll max that out. And when they're done, they'll change the narrative. They'll change the headlines. They'll change how the thing looks. They'll get you to think a certain way. Instead of trying to be in the battle and fighting it, just wait for them to change it. You can have your hat in there, but don't put the house. OGN. They're grinding this sucker down. I like the yield, so I don't mind adding once in a while if I see a good setup, but there's one. It's a lot. I mean, this is obviously the heavy one right here, but there's another one in here right off these. Just gotta wait. Let it grind down. If it goes to $6, whatever. Seeing a bump in volume here. See how it's kind of starting to rise up a little bit. So we might come up against this. But we're looking probably for a I mean, I might add. I don't need to, though. Look, I mean, we're so far outside the Keltner channel. This will probably have a snapback and then maybe probably run into the sucker and maybe come down. Look for a bounce off that and then pop out. So I'm not going to spend it today, spend some time, watching this sucker for the next week or two, but I'm waiting for a break of both of these two, a bounce off, rejection here, bounce off, and then out. That's good enough for me. They'll probably set up the RSI for a good reversal. Got a double bottom here. So, yeah, maybe a lower share price, so it breaks out, maybe comes down, hits here or lower, 1650 area. That'll give us a better setup for the RSI. CRL looks like it's getting ready. Hard rejection, though, so gotta wait for a setup. This is ugly. The question is do we have some support? Yeah, like around 190. Right, so you want to see it come down, maybe bounce, and then wants to get lower, and they're going to try so hard, and there's just somebody who steps in and just pops it right up. You start seeing nice angle in, angle out. So this is angle of attacks here. If we see an angle out of this, comes down, gets outside the Keltner and gets snapped back up, and that angle of attack is equal to the angle in, you're looking good. Now, if it comes down, hits, and does one of these guys, we're not, right? We're not good. We're going to wait. What about EW? Still look at that. Oh, one day looks good. Look at that. Gets out of there. They didn't even allow it to finish out there. Pops its head out. Gets smothered. But, getting a little bit of a bump in volume here as we're getting lower. So just look for a nice solid green day. I'll take it one. I mean, 69, 70. I was good around 75 in terms of value. I mean, the problem is Edwards Life Sciences is a very, very rich valuation. But there are, don't get me wrong, there are plenty of decent competitors out there, but not really. I mean, not at their level. Like, not only are they like kind of industry leaders in terms of like commercial growth, but in terms of like R&D, they essentially have the better products, and their pipeline, what's coming up next, is there. So then they should have growth with what they have, and then once their next gen pops back on board, or comes on board, or online, sorry, they should see another bump. So, all right, Repligen, how you looking? Not looking good, but I'm waiting for that buy threshold. So Align, she's just outside it, right? She's just outside the buy threshold, or she's just, yeah. So she's just there. I was debating on grabbing some of this here. This is a great example. They're kind of like the Edwards Life Sciences, where these guys are the best in their business, and the market knew this. Everybody knew it. And everybody's like, well, why is it, like, and they'll give you like some sort of small little like reason, right? It's just an excuse. Well, there might, people might not be really looking to use their services anymore. I mean, there's some competition, not even close to how good they are and their numbers, but there's some competition and, COVID and, yeah, right. This is what you're doing. You're coming down here and you're buying up slowly. You're letting people that ate through this, oh, it's never going to come back ever again. Just get rid of your shares. Oh, we'll take them from you. Oh, yeah. And then just, look. I mean, I'm not saying it's run away with it, but they're still, accumulating here. This is the, the standard for their industry, essentially. This is the Kleenex. They're the Kleenex of this. Somebody could get actual, like, what was it, Smile Direct Club, and there's a few others, and someone would be like, oh, you got Invisalign? And the person would probably be like, yeah, I got Invisalign. It's not Invisalign, but that's what you would refer to. So don't, I mean, yeah, it's not going away. It's not going away. mRNA, love it. They have cash more than you can imagine right now. These guys will figure something out. I mean, these guys weaseled in there and played with the big boys. They got connections. They figured things out. They played the game, and they played the game well, and they've got a whole bunch of cash for it now. Keep an eye on here. Was it Gritstone? They're coming out with a potentially better vaccine. These guys could buy them like 100 times over now with that cash. If it shows like that's better, oh my gosh, that would be easy acquisition for them. Same thing with Pfizer. And it would get away from, and they would love it because it would get them away. They'd still have the ability to keep making those vaccines and, having commercial and people getting their biannual update boosters, or maybe even just one-time booster. And it would get them away from all the, CureVac and who else, CureVac claiming that BioNTech stole their stuff. They get away from all the litigation. I mean, they'd still have to deal with it, but going forward, they wouldn't have to keep claiming any of the revenue, kind of putting it to the side as potentially being owed to another company because it'd be different technology. So they knew it worked. These guys are kind of, the name now, one of the names involved in those vaccines. So if they can acquire something or do something else with the vaccine and get away from, with different technology that would at least separate them from all this, what's the leftover litigation of who had the actual technology that came up with the original vaccine. Who's old what? All right, next. BioBoom. I don't know why ACAT. I didn't even really look into it. I gotta look into that, but I'm not overly concerned. I'm waiting for it to come back down, and I'm gonna reload for maybe, what would this be? Maybe the sixth time I've reloaded on ACAD, and it's since trading it for Seems like almost like a decade now. Yeah, so you notice it breaks here. So it pops down. Anchored VWAP took control. KPTI, keep an eye on this sucker. This will be one like right now. I mean, they're still reporting some growth in their sales. You know, the market for some reasons like, oh, it won't be as good as like, you know, was it one of their? By the way, hasn't actually truly been determined that it's not going to be approved and they're not going to get the indication. But they made, you know, the market and the analysts said, oh, well, they might not get as much as the. Might not be as a Solanexor won't be as big of a market as they are expecting, and it went from what were we at, like $20 a share? I mean, look at this. Where were we? Yeah, $20-$30 a share, right? Yeah, and they've been grinding this down since then. But that's what we gotta wait for, is this sucker. Whatever. For how much TrendSpider's been amazing, sometimes I still get frustrated with it. But still in control. We gotta wait, but we're getting close here. ESPR, still waiting on that one. See, Schrodinger, waiting for this one. I'm writing up something for us recently for this one, but she's inside this channel here. Probably guess this, yeah. So this morning probably. She can probably go down to what? 277. Xeris. Are we almost there? Maybe. No, not really. Still gotta wait. Still gotta wait on IBRX. SGMO. Look at that. They just got more cash in their bank and probably have enough money to get at least 2 more of their programs through the finish line, and the market will continue to just grind it lower because they need to get, look, the monthly RSI can just keeps grinding lower. There's no reason for anybody to start the buying up. Algo grind. Yep, there it is. I probably had it right there. A little bit off. No, got it. Pretty damn close at least. But you could see, yeah, so if you could see it would come down right there. Now we got a little bit of green because it popped out from it, but, you know. That's how far out these things work. It was off by probably not even 1 degree. But that's where that line came from. You see how it just makes that straight line? What is this? That was November, wasn't it? Yeah, November 21. We're coming up on 2 years ago when they said, all right, this is good. We got it up here. We could start selling. Short it. Boom, 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 boom. Look at this one. Boom, 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 boom. Grind it down. Get you to walk away. Oh, but what? Oh, it's down here. It must be so terrible. Look at the volume here. Anemic. Nothing. Barely a spike here or there for years. Nothing going on. They're getting closer to the finish line. They want you out. They want all of you out. And this is where they're starting to finally do it. That's why you wait. That's why we book profits. And that's why when I was trading all this, you get left over with like a few $100s left in the bank that's house money. I don't care if it comes all the way down here. Because I don't know if it's going to be bought out. Right? I don't know. There is the FOMO part of it, which is, hey, if it keeps going this way, it could. What happens if they wanted to keep going this way? But if it comes all the way down to here, they could take this to 0 3 times over. And it's still, you're not touching the money I already got from it. That's why we book profits on these. Like, do not enter a position and just hold on to it indefinitely unless you are ultra confident and you don't care about the potential losses. But if you're looking to get money out of CKPT because it's a ticker, you got to be booking profits. At certain, you got like it hits buy targets or sell targets, and that's where it is. And you just want, oh, it could go forever. Great. This ticker could go forever. I've got this down in the teens years ago. Yeah, it's probably around here. I remember 14 being one of them. So yeah, this would be it. This is where 2018. Yep. Watched it go all the way up to here. Sold some, reloaded again. And now look. Oh, that was bad. Up here. I haven't added to it. I've been waiting to add to it. That's fine. I mean, I might never have a shot at adding it ever again. All my work that I did before is finally paying off. That's fine. All right, so let's look for a watch list this morning, I guess, huh? I got nothing really. I mean, VKTX looks like someone's picking up on the fact that they're good. KPTI, ESPR, SDGR, all those are kind of in, but I'm still... these are starting to look a little bit better. Yeah, so maybe today might be a good idea to watch and see if we can get any of these speculative guys maybe add there. Murnav's probably another good one to look at. And then we had a couple guys here in healthy dividends. We had, who did we have? SNN, LH. WST should probably be another one, right? Yeah, WST, if you're looking to get in there, look at add the WST. Pfizer, yeah. And ABT. So we have a nice list today. How's BIO looking? She's still pummeled, right? So that's their angle here. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, so that's still got to wait on this one, but this is a good one. She's been controlled by the anchored VWAP there. So got to wait. All right, so that'll be it. I'm not overly aggressive. It's a Friday. Things just the overall market is getting close to making a decision. I don't want to book a ticket and then find out the train's going the other way. So I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait for that train to start moving in that direction, and then I'll jump on it. So anyway, good luck and stay healthy.